I call shotgun. Anyone know the roots of that expression? Turns out riding shotgun comes to us from the Old West. It was a phrase used to describe the bodyguard who rode alongside a stagecoach driver, typically armed with a shotgun to ward off bandits and wild animals. Since the driver needed to keep both hands on the reins, the bodyguard's role was to protect not simply the driver of the stagecoach, but the coach and its occupants. These days, riding shotgun refers to sitting in the passenger seat next to the driver. This person watches for signs, selects the music, sometimes decides when to stop. Shotgun is clearly the best seat for a passenger who feels queasy or gets carsick. For many of us, it's the preferred spot if we're not driving, right? So in today's gospel, we find James and John, who with Peter were kind of part of the inner circle, lobbying to ride shotgun, asking for the preferred spots next to Jesus. And you know, their timing couldn't be better. Think about it. Right after Jesus finishes saying, hey, here's where we're going, I'm going to die. Very sensitive, I think. You know, like, these are the people I want to surround myself with, right? I mean, does anybody agree with me that these guys haven't kind of understood the whole picture? Low on the empathy scale. You know, rather than respond with empathy, they promote their own agenda because they say, do what we ask. We deserve the best seats. Let's face it, it's funny, but there's probably a bit of James and John in each of us. We might not want to admit it, but it's there. And sometimes it comes out. I think, however, the real message for us today lies in Jesus's response. Because in effect, here's what Jesus says. It's not my job to put the seating chart together. And in typical fashion, Jesus flips the script totally and lays out a counter-cultural way of being. That is egalitarian rather than hierarchical. Shifting the emphasis from leaders who dominate and oppress to leaders who serve. Us leading our lives as lives of service. In the process, redefining the words first and greatest to highlight and describe those who serve others. Looking around at the faces of this community on Zoom and in the room here in Drexel Hill, I find myself awed by the way servant leadership is embodied day to day. I could go on and highlight people, but I won't today. Instead, I want to share a quote of Bell Hooks's that resonates with me, and I think with the folks in this community. Love is an action, never simply a feeling. I'm preaching fairly tightly today because I had really incredibly emotional roller coaster of a week. As those of you who have been here before know, my cousin John had surgery about 12 days ago. out in California for a brainstem. My mind. Anyway, a series of blood vessels that had settled in his brainstem and limited some of his movement. And since he's come through surgery, it has been an up and down process of potentially rehabilitation. John is now on hospice as of last night and is delirious. So it's more like his daughter is kind of accompanying him, and those of us as kind of her extended support system across the country are standing by, watching, sending love and prayers. Grateful for all your prayers. But I want to leave you with a question to reflect on that will begin and end our communion song today. That actually ties in with this gospel. Will you let me be your servant? Let me be as Christ to you. Pray that I may have the grace to let you be my servant too. Because suffering is a part of our reading. Suffering is a part of our lives. Thank you.